My name's Bob and welcome to the 5-Minute Meditator. Today the subject is posture. I've had quite a lot of you guys contact me and ask about, well, the physical aspects of meditation. It seemed to be a big concern, so I thought I would address it today. The physical posture is very important in meditation. It should allow us the freedom to relax, yet stay alert to the job at hand. If the posture is too relaxed, however, it tends to lead to drowsiness and ultimately sleep. Very nice, but not mindful. If the posture is too tight, it leads to tension and aches and pains. Not what you want when you're sitting. If you spend your time sitting with too much tension, thoughts are, more likely to arise and distract you. Thoughts will always arise and fall away, but the trick is to let them go the very moment they arise. When we sit, we don't try to shut thoughts out. That is impossible. What we learn to do is to, let them go, gently releasing them from our grip. A little bit like grasping water. When we attach ourselves to the thoughts that arise, they invariably gain mass and weight. They have substance and a life of their own, and are extremely difficult to let go of. I've always said that we have two types of thoughts. There's the small thoughts that just pop into the head, then they quickly go. Then there's those really big, interesting thoughts that capture our attention and lead us off down a path. We get entranced by them. Before long, we're no longer in the present moment. I call these two things trains of thought. When you have a train of thought, guess what? You have a choice. Either you get on the train or you don't. Watch it come into the station. Then, preferably, watch it leave. Without you on it, obviously. Do you want to go off into the past? A time that you can no longer change? Or to the future that hasn't even happened yet? Or do you want to be in charge of your life? Given the opportunity, I'd much rather be the driver of the train than a passenger. Sitting up front, knowing where I'm going, at the speed at which I choose, stopping when I want to, and getting off from time to time. Maybe now you're starting to realise that, you've been a passenger, haven't you, for far too long. Meditation puts you in the driving seat, firmly. And, like any good driver, we must remain alert, attentive, and yet relaxed, in control, keeping on track. Which sort of now neatly segues into me getting onto the subject of posture when meditating. The first thing first is to decide where it is you're going to meditate. It's helpful in the early stages to have a fixed time and place to practice. A quiet, dimly lit room is very good. A blank wall is also useful. You're going to be staring at it for quite a while. Few distractions as possible. Now, you need to make a decision based upon your personal sort of physical requirements about how you're going to sit. When I first started meditation, I sat in a half lotus posture. You may have seen it in pictures of the Buddha with his legs crossed and the feet sort of facing upwards on the thighs. This is not necessary, but does provide actually a solid base to sit on if your legs allow it. I now prefer a slightly easier posture, which you can see here. I sit on a cushion known as a zafu, which in turn rests on a mattress called a zabuton, Japanese words. You can buy these quite cheaply or even make one yourself out of pillows and blankets. I sit a lot, so I've always invested in a comfortable base. If you have hip and back problems, this posture is very good. I've got a couple of slipped discs and arthritis in my hips, and I find, this posture is perfect for me, allows me to sustain it. A chair will also suffice, but make sure you have a cushion to sit on that allows your thighs to tip ever so slightly forward, as you can see. This ensures that the spine is kept straight, and this is vitally important. The spine should be naturally erect without too much tension. Imagine that a thread is pulling you up from the crown of the skull with just enough tension. As you can see, my chin is tipped ever so slightly forward and my eyes are lowered. Thus, The last thing is what I want to do with my hands. What do we do with them? Well, I just rest them together on my thighs and just leave them there. I have a sort of a little ritual that I perform, which also allows me to centre myself physically and mentally. Once seated, I tend to rock forward and back a couple of times to the right and the left. That's the body sorted. Then I take 3 to 4 deep breaths in and out, and then settle into my sitting practice, noticing the breath passing in and out of my nose. It's important to breathe through the nose, as this prevents the throat drying out when you sit for extended periods. One last thing before I go. If you get distractions other than the thoughts, for example, noisy neighbours, cars driving past, TVs in the background, just let them go and go back to the breath. If you get an itch or need to adjust your posture, just do it mindfully. Never judge your practice. It's neither right nor wrong. Whatever happens in the present moment is what happens. Just have an appropriate response and come back to the breath. And that's it. Keep following the breath. Remember, it's good to go out of your mind at least once a day. As humans, we spend most of our time inside our heads planning, scheming, judging, generalizing, without any consideration about what is happening now. We make assumptions about things that have not even happened, or just might happen. We plan to succeed and we plan to fail. We fool ourselves into thinking we know what all of this is about. We want to make sense of it all. The fact is, it is the present moment that creates the future. It's what you do now that is important, and being in the present moment actually allows you to make good decisions that will affect you and others in the future. It's time you jumped in the driver's seat and set out on your own journey right now.